Bleeding per rectum is one of the very commonly seen complaint or clinical feature during the practice. And what happens is usually in the general practice also, and with respect to the Shalya Tantra practice also, you will usually see this bleeding per rectum, or we call it as bleeding P/R. And one of the important wherein this kind of bleeding is seen is anal fissure, which is also termed as perikartika in Ayurveda. It is equated to perikartika in Ayurveda. And here, the bleeding pattern would be, one is streaks of blood. Streaks of blood is nothing but the blood would be stuck with the motion, or after the motions, the bleeding occurs in the drop wise, that is one drop or two drop. And the characteristic feature or the pathognomonic feature of this anal fissure is it will be bleeding per rectum with pain. So, a very important point to note here that every patient who presents to you at your OPD with bleeding per rectum would tell only one thing, that either he'll tell it as piles, or if you are practicing in a state of Karnataka, then if the patient speaks Kannada, he'll just tell it as Moolavedi. Fine. But when you are taking the history, there itself you can diagnose the case that if at all he has bleeding which is drop wise, the bleeding characteristic in the piles, we'll discuss it during hemorrhoids class. Right now we'll be discussing only about anal fissure, also called as fissure in ano. And here bleeding with pain is very much important characteristic or clinical feature which has to be noted. And it is the most common cause of severe anal pain. So we'll going further, we'll just see how much severe it would be. Fine. Now, it is equally one of the most common reasons of bleeding per anus in infants and young children. See, what happens in young children and infants is they might suppress the urge of defecation, or some may not be able to recognize the urge of. So in all such cases, what happens is the motion or the feces tends to get stuck or tends to stay in the lower part of intestine for longer duration. And what body does is, this is a natural mechanism of the body, that is the brain. What it does is it commands the body to absorb the water in the lower parts of the intestine. Is that clear? In the lower parts of the intestine. And then what happens if the motion or the feces, the technical term, if it stays for a longer duration in the lower part of the intestine, the body will end up taking more water from it, or extracting more water from this feces, eventually turning the feces into a hard motion or hard feces. So this is how even Ayurveda has clearly mentioned not to suppress the urge of defecation, because after that you may always have the hard motion. It applies to general public also. It applies to people who are very much kind of expecting hygienic atmosphere in the toilet or the washrooms, who eventually end up controlling the motion or suppressing the urge of defecation. And then over a period of time, if they do this, they'll end up having the habitual constipation or very hard stools, which may cause fissure. Is it clear? You're getting the point? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And the same thing happens in the infants and in children also. the pain of the anal ulcer is intolerable, and it's always disproportionate to the severity of the physical lesion. This is very important point to note down, because anal fissure pain, we'll just see what is the definition of fissure or the anal fissure. But the anal fissure or the tear in the anal region, uh, the pain which is caused by this is always disproportionate to the severity of the physical lesion. If you have any injury, any cut with a blade or any stone in the other parts of your body, the pain would be relatively lesser. But if it is in the anal region or if it is in the anus, then the pain is usually intolerable. Fine. The severity of the pain is so much so that the person may avoid defecation for days together. Now, recently I had a case in my OPD wherein a small kid aged 4.5, 5 years. So what has happened is, once he had severe pain while passing the motions, and after that he felt that this is something which causes pain. See, for a kid, it is like one time conclusion. So what it does is, the kid will do is, if at all it comes to know that the motion is one of the reason for causing the anal pain, it will just stop defecating. The same thing happened. The kid just stopped defecating, and over a period of time, it became a habit. He was so much so irritated with this urge of defecation that he used to just control it by all the means. And to control itself, he used to take around 3 to 4 hours. And this worried the parents a lot. So he's still under treatment. But it was very good that we started with Takrarishta and Kumariya Sava and also Gandhaka Rasayana, wherein around 90 days, just day before yesterday, his parents had texted me on WhatsApp telling that he's almost okay now, because the trauma which he had in his mind related to the anal pain during defecation, it made him conclude that, it made the kid conclude that if at all I pass the motion, if at all I defecate, then there is for sure going to, it's going to pain. So it was all suppressing the urge of defecation, which led to the further complications. And until it becomes inevitable. So inevitable here means there may be bloating of the stomach also. That much they control, because they feel that passing motion gives them pain, whereas it's actually the different thing which is causing the pain. And this leads to hardening of the stools, which further tear the anoderm during defecation. Anoderm is anatomy, which we may take up in the subsequent classes if the time permits, wherein we can go ahead with the anatomy of the anal canal, which is again a first year syllabus, but still it's very important that we brush it up in the Shalya class. Setting a vicious cycle. So what is cycle? Cycle is like hardening of the stools and controlling of the urge of defecation, that is suppressing the urge of defecation. Both of this will act as cause and effect. Once the motion stays or the feces stays in the lower part of the intestine, the more of the water is absorbed into the body, making the stool or the feces very hard and dry. So which later, if at all it is passing through the anus, it definitely tears the anus. Can you see this part here? This is the fissure. Can you see this part?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The anal opening or the anal verge, wherein you have a tear. This is the fissure in ano. This is acute fissure in ano. We'll just see the types of the fissure. That time we'll discuss what is acute fissure in ano, what is chronic fissure in ano. This triangle cut, is it triangle? Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anal fissure. Okay. Now this is chronic anal fissure. This is chronic anal fissure wherein you have skin tags. These are called as skin tags. Many people confuse this with piles. So we will be studying this in the differential diagnosis, how to differentiate between the pile mass and a sentinel pile. This is called as sentinel pile or sentinel pile. Sentinel space pile. It's not piles, it is sentinel pile. And the word meaning of sentinel pile is the guard or the one which protects the fissure. See, what happens is body's mechanism is always to lessen the pain. Now body knows that there is a pain in the anal verge during defecation. So what it does is it just throws out a piece of skin. We'll just see the pathogenesis of sentinel pile also. It just throws out the piece of a skin, or this will act as a skin tag which covers the wound. See, if you see this fissure, what will happen is the skin will cover this fissure. Got it? Eventually protecting the wound so that the wound is not at all exposed to the either external environment or internal environment. Here internal environment means the motion which is, or the feces which is passing through this area. That's why the pain will reduce. But what happens because of this sentinel pile or the sentinel skin tag is it will not allow the fissure or the wound to heal because it covers up the wound completely. Now, coming to the topic proper, here the term fissure is derived from fissura, which means a cleft, a sulcus or a groove. Fine? It's a cleft, sulcus or a groove. If you see this structure, you can definitely correlate it to a cleft, right? And fissure in ano is a true ulcer in the anoderm. The right definition goes as follows: anal fissure or fissure in ano is a longitudinal tear in the anoderm. It's a longitudinal tear in the anoderm, and it is always longitudinal in the shape. Can you see this? It's longitudinal. It's not horizontal. It is longitudinal, right? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. When it comes to synonyms of the fissure in ano or anal fissure, one is anal ulcer, the second is anal fissure, or as already ulcer in ano, chronic ulcer or fecal ulcer. But the most commonly used terms are, one is fissure in ano, the second is anal fissure. Almost both are equally used as per the medical term is considered. An anal fissure is a linear ulcer in the lower half of the anal canal and extends from just below the dentate line to the margin of the anus or the anal verge. The ulcer may be acute, recurrent or chronic and may occur alone or with other rectal disease, most commonly hemorrhoids or the piles, which will be studying in the later classes, subsequent classes. So fissure in ano could be very important question, like pilonidal sinus. The fissure in ano can be a independent question, not of course a long essay question, because long essay you may be asked about anorectal diseases but not specifically fissure in ano. But short essay fissure in ano or parikardika, examiner's favorite topic, plus in the viva essay also you will be asked about fissure in ano. More than this, the important thing is the clinical practice. If at all, again I'm telling you, anyone is planning for the practice soon after your degree, then definitely anal fissure cases you will see maximum. If any person visits to the OPD with pain and bleeding per rectum, then your provisional diagnosis or the clinical diagnosis should directly shoot to fissure in ano, and the treatment should be aimed towards fissure in ano. Fine. So can you see this? Can you see this cut here in the third image?
Yes, sir.
How the cut or the tear? We shouldn't mention it as cut. It's a non-medical term. We cannot mention it as a cut. But to make the patient understand or to make any student understand, you can always use it. A tear. Can you see a tear here? And this tag is covering this tear. So what happens is eventually this tag itself will guard this tear. Pile means one who guards. Fine, security. This is a security for this fissure. That's why it will not allow the fissure to heal, and then eventually it will turn into a recurrent fissure. Fine, and this is anterior. This is posterior. If you draw a imaginary line from dividing the anus or anal verge into two halves like this, the upper portion is anterior, the lower portion is posterior. This is anterior fissure in chronic anterior fissure in with sentinel pile. This is posterior chronic anal fissure with sentinel pile. Now, why I termed it as chronic, we'll be seeing it in the subsequent slides. Is this slide clear? Any doubts?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. So, this is the fissure, and this is the sentinel skin tag. So this is where the dentate line is there, and this is hypertrophied papilla. So we have to always differentiate some of the diseases and some of the conditions with respect to even skin tag also. So that we'll be seeing in the next slides. When it comes to epidemiology of the anal fissure, here young or middle-aged adults, usually 30 to 50 years, and with respect to gender, the incidence is seen more in the women. There are very few diseases which are usually prominent or the incidence is higher in the women, and fissure in ANO is one among them. So most of the diseases, most of the chronic diseases affect males, not the females. This is one of the disease wherein you will have females as a risk factor or the sufferer, fine. And sometimes it may be seen in infancy or early childhood. So first is females, then it comes to the childhood, then it is males. Fine. And aged people, usually it is uncommon, because in the aged people, the sphincter, the anal sphincter is usually lax, or it is usually very loose. So in such cases, fissure is very rare, because the motion passes off easily even if it is hard. If the sphincter or the anal opening muscles are lax. Fine. When it comes to gender, again, I told you, males, now fissure we have to just differentiate between the anterior and posterior fissure. Okay. And in the males, anterior fissure, the incidence of anterior fissure is 10%, and incidence of posterior fissure is 90%. And in the females, anterior fissure incidence is 40%, posterior fissure incidence is 60% statistically. Okay. So this is very important again when it comes to research aspect and when it comes to clinical practice aspect. Okay. If aged person visits the OPD, say around 60-year-old male visits the OPD with bleeding per rectum, it just tells that, doctor, motionally blood hoitu, athwa I had bleeding motions in the morning, then your straightforward diagnosis should not be anal fissure. Of course, differential diagnosis only you should have anal fissure, but your straightforward diagnosis should go towards either piles or associated hemorrhoids, whichever it is, the grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, or grade 4. All right. So it is very common in females. Now, when it comes to the site, I already told you, most common site is midline posteriorly, and then next is midline anterior. See, in this image it's very clear. I told you the third image you will have the posterior anal fissure, and the fourth image you have anterior anal fissure. Now the reason why it is always posterior is the thing which we'll be seeing in the next slide. Most common site is midline posteriorly. Next frequent site is midline anterior. Now, if again very important for clinical practice, other sites also are not very uncommon. The way it is mentioned, you have to mention the same terminology even if you are delivering it at a seminar, or if you are answering it in Viva, or if you are writing it in a theory exam. Other sites for the fissure in ANO are not very uncommon. Okay, this is the way they present it. We would have easily written it as other sites are also common, but it is mentioned as other sites also are not very uncommon. So the English used here tells about we cannot rule out the occurrence of anal fissure in the other parts of the anal canal. Here only we are talking about in the anus, in the in and around anus. Fine. So this is posterior, this is anterior, and lateral. Can you see here? If you just consider this anal verge as a clock, fine. So this is 6 o'clock. This is 12 o'clock. Anterior is 12 o'clock. You can write anterior as 12 o'clock also. Fissure in ANO at 12 o'clock position. Fine. You have to also mention the examination position. I'll tell it later. Lithotomy, or is it the knee elbow position, or any other position, or the prone position. So this is 12 o'clock, this is 6 o'clock, this is 3 o'clock, this is 9 o'clock, and all the clock 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 10, 11. All the clock positions can be seen in the anus with respect to the surgical aspect. Okay. So other sites are also are not very uncommon, but when anal ulcers or the anal fissures are more in number, in some persons you may see 2, 3, or 4 of the anal ulcers. That time we have to always suspect the underlying diseases. Which may be the underlying diseases? So one is tuberculosis, syphilis, or colitis. So usually fissure may occur not only because of constipation, it may also occur because of loose motion. So in such cases, what will happen is, if it is because of loose motions, in the colitis we usually see the loose motions. So in such case, what will happen is you will have multiple ulcers. And if it is associated with tuberculosis or syphilis or any STD, sexually transmitted diseases, we have to always screen the underlying diseases and always examine the patient with double glove. Very important. Okay. Now, why posterior midline location? Fine. So, why is it predominantly posterior midline location? Because one is posterior angulation of the anal canal. The angulation of the anal canal is more towards posterior side. Relative fixation of the anal canal posteriorly, that is at 6 o'clock. And the third reason is divergence of the fibers of the external sphincter muscle posteriorly. Again at 6 o'clock, all the muscle fibers diverge. And the fourth reason is elliptical shape of the anal canal. Now, anterior midline location of fissure, that is 12 o'clock, is much more common in women, particularly in those who have born children. So what happens is, even in the pregnancy, fissure in ANO is one of the complications because of excess of the pressure of uterus on the rectum. What happens is the feces tends to stay in the rectum for the longer duration, and then there will be constipation. So because of the constipation, if the lady strains more, if at all the motion or the feces pass out, she has all the possibilities that she may be getting an anal fissure. And if the motion or the feces is not passing out, then there are all the possibilities that that lady may develop hemorrhoids. That's why 8th month of the Garbhini Charya, Acharya Sushruta advises Matra Basti, a very unique concept of Ayurveda, wherein if we administer oil or any sneha, either taila or grita, the other two vasa majja will not be utilizing usually, but taila or grita if we administer in the form of matra basti in a pregnant lady in the 8th month, it not only eases the excretory system part, but it also helps in normal delivery because of the lubrication. Now, when it comes to the etiology of anal fissure, then the primary causes are, one is constipation, and in the constipation itself, you can also consider as loose motion. So, if a person passes motion more than 4 to 5 times in a day, there are all the possibilities that the person may suffer with anal fissure. That's why even in the colitis, ulcerative colitis, or irritable bowel syndrome (IBS), there are possibilities that a person may develop multiple anal fissures. That is lateral also, maybe 3 o'clock, maybe 4 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock, maybe 12 o'clock. Okay. Then spasm of the internal sphincter. As I was talking about earlier, why it is uncommon in aged persons is the sphincter would be lax, it will be loose. So if the spasm of the internal sphincter occurs, then there is all the possibility that the person will strain more, and if the stools are hard, then it may tear the anoderm, causing anal fissure. And spasm of the internal sphincter is also one of the clinical feature seen in the anal fissure during the per rectal examination. That so it's a cause and effect theory wherein spasm of internal sphincter may cause fissure or worsen fissure, and anal fissure may have spasm of internal sphincter. Is that clear? Are you understanding?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Yes, sir.
We have only 5 minutes left. I think we may have to rejoin. No, it's fine. 12:05. All right. When too much skin has been removed or excised during surgery for either hemorrhoids, that is hemorrhoidectomy, anal stenosis may result. Fine. Anal stenosis is again a condition which we will be seeing in the later classes. So anal stenosis, in which anal fissure may develop when hard motion passes through such stricture. Okay. So again, it is nothing but the opening would be very tight if a person forces upon it and tries to defecate. Then if the hard stool goes out, then it may cause fissure. If it is not going out, it may engorge the hemorrhoidal plexus, causing the hemorrhoids. When it comes to secondary, so these are the primary causes: constipation or loose motion, spasm of the
Sir, I have a doubt, sir. Why would there be a spasm of internal sphincter, sir?
Why would be the spasm of internal sphincter? I told you it acts as a cause and effect. Fine. Now, because of some kind of trauma or because of some kind of fissure itself, what happens is there will be spasm of internal sphincter, and at that point of time, why the spasm has occurred is it is the body's natural tendency to protect that wound or that tear or that fissure. See what happens if it is not contracting, then there are all possibilities that you will the person will try to defecate again, and then if it passes through the wound again, then there will be lots of pain. So what the body does is it usually causes the spasm of the internal sphincter. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Apart from this, some of the neurological defects also cause spasm of the internal sphincter, which are the secondary causes. Some of the neurological defects also. Okay. And when it comes to secondary causes, we have ulcerative colitis, wherein you will have multiple anal fissure or lateral anal fissures. One is anterior, one is posterior, which are very common. Posterior is more common. Anterior is seen in usually females who during pregnancy, and if it is lateral or apart from anterior and posterior, then you should always suspect Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, syphilis, and tuberculosis. Right? So any kind of injury or trauma to the anus will definitely cause anal fissure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this is wherein you can see the dentate line and the anal canal and the anal mucosa, the differentiation. We have dentate line in between, uh, below which we will have this anal fissure. All right, we have